ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शान्तिमन्त्रम्। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणचक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। So we have successfully completed the 6th chapter, and to recall the main intent of that chapter, and its relationship with chapter 7 need to be understood before we enter the chapter 7. We started the 6th chapter with the Sarvam Khalidam Brahma Upasana, the 3rd chapter and 14th section, which was needed to explain the chapter 6, where the father Uddalaka was teaching his son Shvetaketu about the ultimate or the absolute reality, where he said that Sadeva Soumya Idamagra Asi. In the beginning, only existence was there. Now that existence itself is what is now being seen here as the world of experiences. Whether it is waking, dream or deep sleep, doesn't matter. All the experiences have their dependency on that Sat. Therefore, Sat Eva, in the form of Sat or existence, we are experiencing that absolute reality in our every experience. Pratibodha viditam matam amrutatva hivindate. Kenopanishad mantra. But how do we experience that Sat in the experiential world of waking, dream and deep sleep? Was in the form of names and forms. Vacharambanam vikaro namadeya was the word which was used in the first when he explained the examples. The gold, without losing the property or the goldness, is what is being experienced as the ornaments. Just as the mud, without losing the mudness, is being experienced in the pot, the lamp, the jar, etc., etc. Same way, this Sat, which was there in the beginning, without losing that the nature of the Sat existence, it appears as multiplicity in the world in the names and forms. Why in the names and forms? Because for us, the experiences are always related to names and forms. But we often forget that the names and forms independently cannot exist, cannot have a experiential aspect to it without the existential substratum on which the names and forms are being used. So all that what we are experiencing, doesn't matter the multifarious or the multidimensional, multitudinal, all the type of the variations which we are seeing, they are all names only. The names and forms, we call it in different methodology because we have been given the 5 sense organs of perception, which was explained in the Kathopanishad. Paranchikani Vetranat Swayambhu Tasmad Paran Pashyati Nandaratma Kaschidiraha Avritta Chakshu Amrutattvamichan Pratyakatmanamichan. These sense organs was created or placed in our physical body, turned outward by the Creator. Therefore, Tasmat Parang Pashyati. Therefore, they can only perceive things which are external to it. But in the Kenopanishad, we heard that what is that Kahu Devo Yunati, what is that with which the eyes are able to see, the words are able to speak, the mind is able to mind, etc., etc., was the question in the Kenopanishad, for which the teacher said, Chashushat Chakshu, Manaso Manoyat, Vachoha Vacham, Sahu Pranasya Pranaha. So, for the eye, there is an eye which is seeing through the eye. That is the real eye, not the bulb like or a white and black thing which we are placed on the face of our experience or experiencing. No, that is only flesh or part of the body. But there is a knower when behind the seeing. That is mentioned as the Chakshushat Chakshu or the eye of the eye. Same way, hearer of the hearing, taster of the taste, minder of the mind. Like that, all of them. And what is the nature of that? When it was asked, the teacher didn't have an answer. It is Yushruma Purvesham. I can only explain the way I was taught because it is beyond the Yatovacho Nivartande Aprapya Manasasaha, where the words fail to describe it and the mind returns without understanding it or without the fathom of grasping it. So I can Idishishruma Purvesham, as my teachers have taught me, only that way I can explain to you. But it is there which you will also understand. Vidita Avididabhyam, that which is beyond the known and the unknown. Here we have to understand what we call it as known and unknown are in the names and forms. That is beyond names and forms, on which the names and forms has a dependency, without which the name and form cannot be expressing its own presence. That is what is explained as beyond the known and the unknown. Because what is known is in the realm of names and forms. What is unknown is which cannot be known, but we put them all together into one basket as called the unknown or the ignorance. It is neither ignorance nor what is knowing in the names and forms. It is that with which we know both the known and we also know we have a ignorance also. So this aspect of Vidita Avididabhyam, Adi means beyond, is what is being explained by the teacher of the Kenopanishad. Yadimanyase suvededi naham debrava vivena. If you think that you know it, very little, my dear son, you know about it, because this is beyond the known and the unknown. So you cannot say you know it. At the same time, it is not unknowable. The very knowing or the knowledge or the cognition or the experience when we cognize or perceive anything is due to the presence of it. Only in its presence we have the knowledge. Even the eyes are open, we may not have the knowledge of the object which we see. Even physical amputation, etc., we do not know when in our deep sleep because we are not being perceiving that which is to be perceived. All those things which are showing us is that there is a consciousness and awareness beyond what is being perceived in the world. But then, how did the Chandogya Upanishad master Uddalaka tell his son that Vacharambanam Vigaro Namadeyam Tigateva Satyam? All those things which are seeing in the names and forms are the same Sat Sadeva Saumya Idamagrasi, which is the one which is now being experienced. So there seems to be a situation or a condition where people are not able to bridge the gap between the two. One side it is saying that it cannot be known. The other say that all what you see is that. That means I am knowing it. How is this contradiction? And how do I resolve this contradiction? This is the biggest question any intelligent person will ask. But at the same time, there are Upanishads which are talking about the third aspect of the absolute as bliss, existence, consciousness, and bliss, or the Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Now, this Ananda aspect is been eluding most of us. We do not know what is the Ananda that has been mentioned about this absolute in its own definition, which is been indicative definitions. Satyatyanam Anantam Brahma or Satchit Anandam Brahma. All both ways, Anantam and Anandam are the two words used for the third aspect of what is called Ananda. Anandam means that which doesn't have an end, or it is infinite, or very, very nature of it is that it never gets diminished. It cannot be divided. It cannot be brought into any measurable means. That such a thing is called the infinite. And Ananda, we all know Ananda or the happiness or the bliss. I'm using both the words because some people know it as happiness, some people know it as bliss. But the intent of the Upanishad is neither the bliss nor the happiness, but it has got a meaning beyond that. That aspect is being addressed in the 7th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad. In the end, which we will come to know, where the teacher says that na alpe sukham asti, bhumaiva sukham. In the finite, alpam means finite. Na alpe sukham asti. In the finite, there is no permanent happiness. Bhumaiva sukham. Bhuma is a word used synonym to Brahma. Now, the Bhuma word in Sanskrit has got Bhuya, also another meaning. Bhuyas is the word which is used, is that existence again, or abundance. There are many meanings for that. That aspect of existence and knowledge which never gets disturbed, diminished, or partitioned, or reduced into object, is the aspect of the Bhuma what he is talking about. To define that, in the 7th chapter, the master says, Yatrana anyat pasyati, anyat vijanati, anyat shunoti. That state or that is Bhuma, where you don't see anything other than that, where you do not hear anything about anything other than that. and you do not know anything other than that knowledge. So that is the way in which this Upanishad is taking us. But straight away, with our limited mind, we cannot jump to that state. That statement doesn't make a sense to us. So the merciful, the benevolent Upanishad brings in the teacher and the taught, or the master and the disciple, methodology again in the 7th chapter, where there are two sons of Brahman, Prajapati, Brahma, Manasaputras. They are not born out of womb or anything, they were mental creations. One is Sanatkumara as the master, Narada is the disciple. Now, both these characters are very well known for those who are familiar with the Indian mythology. Sanakadi, there are four rishis which were created by Brahma by the mental projection to assist him in what you call creating the world. But they were so much into the sattvic guna that they didn't want to do anything that can disturb their own existence or peace or anything. And they refused to do the further creation in the world. And they said to Father Brahma that no, we are not interested. And they go to Shiva and listens to him, from him, the truth about the reality. Shiva, as a Dakshinamurti, is advising to Sanakadi. So that is the teacher who learned it directly from Shiva, who is the master of this story here. And Narada is also a Manasaputra of Brahma. The Brahma here is not the Brahman, which is the Satchidananda Brahman. Here Brahma is the creator Brahma, who has been depicted as the three murtis, or the three created things, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. So the Srishti or the creation aspect is by Brahma, Sthiti aspect is by Vishnu, and Laya aspect is by Shiva. So Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, or Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are the three gods of the mythology. So Narada is a mental child of Brahma who has been given special powers that he can travel to any realm, which is supposed to be the 14 worlds as per the mythology. And all the 4 worlds he has visa-free entry and passportless travel. So he can appear anywhere, anytime. Due to this, his capacity to learn also was very high. So he has studied whatever is possible to be studied in this whole world, which will we see it in the list when he says to the master. So this is the qualities of the teacher and the student. Now we know that what are the qualities of the teacher and what is the quality of the student. The student has studied everything under the sun or everything under the creation. Yet he was not happy. He approaches the master saying that I have heard that masters like you are saying that only that person who knows the Atma is freed from all sorrow and agony in life. Tarati shokam atmavit. Tarati means to cross over. Shokam means sorrows. Atmavid, one who knows about Atma, he only can cross over the sorrows. Therefore, Adihi Bhagavo, please teach me, sir, is the way in which the Upanishad starts itself. The seventh chapter is divided into 26 sections, whereas in the sixth chapter we had only 16. But these 26 are all smaller ones compared to the 16 of the sixth chapter. And here, even though the 26 chapters are dealing with stage by stage development of meditational or philosophical meditation with which we are growing up in our understanding. So, this growing up of understanding is the stages which is being explained, starting with the names and forms, nama, to the prana, which is there in the 16th section, which is coming that there each one is superior to the other one. But when we go for the superior, we will know that when we are going to the superior one, the lesser one is not abandoned or discarded, because the lesser one is a product of the superior one, therefore it is present in the superior one. This way, stage by stage, we are being taken to the plenum of happiness by the various methods in which Sanatkumara teaches Narada. So, what happens is that, as typical in the Shastra, when a student approaches a teacher, the teacher doesn't start talking about the reality or the absolute nature of things without taking a test of the child, which is very common today also. We have an entrance test or a qualifying test for anything in the world today. Something similar that was existing those days also. So what happens is that when Narada approaches Sanatkumara asks Narada, what you said is fine, but before I start teaching you, I would like to know what is that you know till now. Therefore, I can teach you what is to be taught beyond what you already know. This is the way in which the opening scenario has been presented by the Upanishad to us. So, the Upanishad begins with the statement from Narada to Sanatkumara, which says that the first mantra is the one which I am going to take, saying, Adihi Bhagava iti ho upasasada Sanatkumaram Naradaha tam ho vaja yad vetha tena ma prisida tadastha urdam vakshyami iti. Hey Narada, he says that Narada, okay, before Narada makes the statement, Adihi Bhagava, hey Bhagava means hey, the revered one. Adihi, the word Adihi is used a second person singular word to please teach me or please enlighten me. The teach me, enlighten me, both words can be used as synonym here because the subject is like that. So, Adihi Bhagava iti Narada Sanatkumaram Upasasada. This way, Narada told Sanatkumara, approaching him, Tam ho vacha. Tam means Sanatkumara. Uvacha as speaks to Narada in reply to that. Yat vetha tena ma upasida tata urdham vakshyami iti. So what does it say? Yat vetha. Whatever you know, please ma upasida. Please come to me explaining what are the things which you know. Tada urdhvam vakshyami iti. I will explain or I will teach you what is to be taught beyond what you already know. Why should I waste the time of yours and mine simultaneously if you already know certain things? Therefore, you should tell me what is the thing what you know, and therefore, please let me know what you know. Sahovacha. Narada now starts talking about Rigvedam Bhagavo Dhyayami Yajurvedam Samavedam Madharvanam Chaturtha Idihasa Puranam Panchamam Vedanam Vedam Vitrayam Rashim Daivam Nidhim Vako Vakyam Ekayanam Deva Vidya Brahma Vidya Bodha Vidya Kshatra Vidya Nakshatra Vidya Sarpa Deva Jana Vidya Detat Bhagavo Adhyemi. He gives all the certificates from graduation to post graduation to doctorate. Whatever he has done for his studies, he lists them all out to the teacher Sanatkumara. How does he say that? Rigvedam Bhagavo Dhyayami. I know Rigveda. I have studied that and I am a master of that. Yajurveda, Samaveda, Adharvanam, Chaturtam. All the four, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Adharvana. All those things I have mastered it. Which includes the Upanishad parts also. Idihasa Puranam Panchamam. Itihasa and Purana are the two aspects of in the ancient literature which talks about the history and the mythology. So, Itihasa, history, and Purana is mythology. So, he said that not only I know that four Vedas, but I also know the history and the mythology. Panchamam, which is known as the fifth aspect of it. Vedanam Vedam. Now, Vedanam Vedam is typically the Veda of the Vedas or that super Veda. But here, Acharya Shankara mentions this here what Vedanam Veda is that knowledge through which I come to know what is being told in the Vedas, because the Vedic literature and the Vedic science or what is there in the Vedas are very archaic and very difficult to understand language. We do not come to direct understanding of the meaning unless somebody who has mastered it explains to us. Even though those days the language was Sanskrit, they knew the language, and even though when it was being taught, there need to be an explanatory way in which those things need to be taught. Therefore, Vedanam Vedam, here what Acharya Shankara says is that this is the grammar aspects of the Veda, because the grammar aspects of the Veda is different from the Samskrita Vyakarana, which is later codified by Panini. But there are difficult to understand words. For example, the Bhuma, the word itself, is not there in the ordinary Sanskrit language. We only come to know the word Bhuma through the Vedas. Here it is the Chandogya Upanishad, which is part of the Samaveda. So this Vedanam Veda is the intricate grammatical constructions of the four Vedas which I have studied as Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvana, and not only Itihasa and Purana. Pitryam. Pitryam means all the sacrificial oblations which we carry out for the departed souls. To all the departed souls, there is a ritual called once in a year, and some people do once in a month also. Certain oblations or rituals and offerings under conditions with certain mantras which are chanted for appeasing them. They feel that the departed souls can influence even our life now. That is the belief they have. So this also I know, Itrem means the way in which one has to do the oblations, obeisance to the departed souls. Rasim is that aspect with which we can say that, with which we can predict when will a meteor fall, when can an eclipse takes place, or when are the time of celestial calamities can happen. It is a form of mathematical calculation, basically mathematical in nature, with full what you call we take these all aspects of solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, and the position of the stars, the North Star, the North Pole. All those things are mathematically calculated, based on which they were able to tell about the celestial events which are happening. Not only what will be happening as far the eclipse are concerned, but even when a star will be born and star will be dying out in the cosmos. That is what is called Rashi. Then Daivam is the knowledge of the future. Here Daivam means which enlightens the future aspect of it. To predict events which can happen later by way of a knowledge which were there present in those days. They could mention that such and such a thing will happen, and they were able to predict with accuracy the events which can happen. The capacity to predict the future from the various indirect indications which they have accumulated as a part of the study. So not only that it is a physical phenomena which they are going to mention, they also can predict it from the position of the celestial planets, stars, and even the natural things which are like the wind, the sun direction, all those things from there, they are able to predict what is going to happen. This Utpada Jnanam is called what is called the Deva. Nidhim. Nidhim is that knowledge without doing excavation. A person can predict what is under the surface of the earth, whether there is gold there or diamond there, or whether there is a water streak flowing, or whether there is this is a fault line where you may get an earthquake, etc. That knowledge is what is called the nidhi. Without digging, they can know they by that knowledge which he has acquired, Narada has acquired, he can mention that what is going to be the result if you dig in this such and such a place. Vako Vakyam is logic, or what we call it as Tarka Shastra. were the logical methods of acquiring knowledge and logical methods in which you can take on an opponent on a dialogue or a dispute. All those things come under the Tarka. Not only that, they have developed that further into even the atomic nature in which the materials can be assessed without a binocular or a microscope or an atomic microscope. They could know the fundamental contents of a matter. This is by logical deductions. What they did is what is called the Vako Vakyam. Ekayanam is the Niti Shastra. That is the law, what we call it as the Department of Law, or in the what you call is in the advocate or the legal system, the law knowledge of legal system, or we can also say Dharma Shastra. Then there is Deva Vidyam, which is called as Deva Vidyam as the knowledge which is required for practicing the Vedas, which includes Nirukta, etc., and the chandas, the meter in which the mantras have to be chanted, the etymology of the words, and the meaning of the words, and all those things are called Deva Vidya. Then comes Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya here doesn't mean the knowledge about Brahman. The tendency to mistake is that it is now Brahma Vidya means here we are not talking about the Vidya of about Brahman. Here Brahma stands for Vedas. So the one word for all the four Vedas put together is called Brahma, because Brahma Pradivadya Vishayamusti. It is the subject matter for Brahma. Therefore, all Vedas put together are called those days by a single word called Brahma. And Brahma Vidya means Veda through the aspects of Shiksha, Vyakaranam, and all those, the Shadangas of the Vedas. Shiksha, Kalpam, Chandas, Vyakaranam, all those things are included in that Brahma Vidya. It is the not only that the way to utter a word, utter a mantra, the way in which you have to perform a yajna, and the meter in which each of the mantras have to be chanted is all included in the Brahma Vidya. Then comes the Bhuta Vidya. What is the Bhuta Vidya? Bhuta, Bhautika is, Bhuta means created. It is what we call it as material science of the matters which have been created. All comes under the word Bhuta Vidya. See, this is the way. Brahma Vidya is about the Vedas and thing. Bhuta Vidya is about the materials which are used for our day-to-day life. Then comes the Shastra Vidya. Shastra means Shastra. It means armory or arms and ammunitions. He knew the not only manufacturings of arms and ammunition and how to use them also. That is why it is called a Shastra Vidya. Shastra is from the word Kshatriya is coming, is from this word, which means science of warfare. Not only the arms and ammunitions, how the manufacturing them, and how to effectively use like missiles, etc., everything. Those things were coming under the Shastra Vidya. Dhanur Vidya is a part of Shastra Vidya. Dhanur Vidya is the application of the knowledge of the armory. The Shastra Vidya, not only the knowing the manufacturing, Dhanurvidya included in it makes it complete by applying that how to use it. Nakshatra Vidya. Nakshatra Vidya is that of celestial stars and the science of astronomy and astrology put together is what is called that. But earlier Rashim was the word which was mentioned, which is prediction of events in the celestial places. Whereas here Nakshatra Vidya is talking about astronomy and astrology. Then Sarpadeva Vidyam, Sarpadeva Jana Vidya. It has to be divided Sarpa Vidya, Deva Vidya, and Jana Vidya, Deva Jana Vidya. What does it mean that? It is about medication. Sarpa is, even though it is meant by snakes, how harmful, even harmful ingredients which we consume creates poison in our body, and how to do a remedy for that is in the Sarpa Vidya, and that is more described in the Garuda Vidya, Garuda Mantram, etc. is there. And Devajana Vidya is what Narada is well known for: music, dance, and musical instruments, and veena, violin, piano. All those things are coming under Devajana Vidya. And Narada has many more in that. But he concludes with Edat Bhagavaha Dhyemi. These are some of the things I know, in my Lord, my teacher. These are some of the things which I know. But I have no happiness in me. In spite of knowing all those things, that I am not having the happiness within me. To mention that, he goes to the third mantra, saying, Soham Bhagavo Mandravide Vasmi, Na Atmavid Srutam Dhova, Me Bhagavan Drishyemi Starati Shokam Atmavid Idi, Soham Bhagava Shochami, Tamma Bhagavan Chaugasya Param Tarayatu Iti, Sahovacha, Yadvai Kinchit Yadagishta Nama Vaitat. So here Sanatkumara is washing out all the knowledge which he has learned, which he proudly presented as a list of degrees and certificates which he had acquired over his, learning process. The whole thing has been wiped out by Sanatkumara. Let us see how he does it. Soham Bhagava Mantravidevasmi. Mantravid means one who knows these mantras, because of which everything can be put into practice. Soham Bhagava, I am, O Master, O Bhagava, I am the Mantra Videvasmi. I am a person capable of chanting, doing all the mantras of all those studies which have been made. Na Atmavida. But I do not know the intricate nature of these things. The self of all, in that each one of them, is not known to me. So, if you remember in the Mundaka Upanishad, we have studied that Yajnatva sarvamidam vijnadam bhavati, knowing which everything what is known as idam, what we see as the world of experience, becomes known. To that, the master of the Mundaka Upanishad mentioned that Dve vidye veditavye paracha parachaiva. And in the Apara, he had listed all these Vedas and all these Upanishads, all the, the other Shastras and everything, which now Narada says, Mantra Videvasmi. I know that this Apara Vidya completely. The Para Vidya I do not know. Aham na Atmavid. I am not Atmavid. I do not know about the Atma of it. So, O Bhagavan, Master, please accept that this is my list of knowledge and I do not know the Atma Bhava or the whole intrinsic nature of these things. So, Bhagavat Shroye means Tarati Shokam Atmavid. I heard from masters like you that Atmavid, one who knows the Atma, is capable of crossing over Shokam Tarati, to cross over the world of sorrows. Here Shokam is indicating of the world of sorrows. Tarati means crossover. Soham Bhagava Shojami. Therefore, I am in utter despair and unhappiness because even after studying all the list of things which I have told you till now, I am still unhappy because I do not know what is Atma. Ma Bhagavan Chokasya Param Taredu. My dear sir, please make me cross over the world of sorrows by your teaching. I am surrendering to you. Adihi Bhagavo. Please teach me, sir, is the way in which he says that. Tam Hovaja. That time the Sanatkumara said, Yadvai Kinchit Edat Agishta. All those things what you mentioned about Rigvedam, Samavedam, Yadurvedam, Adarvanam, Panchamam, Idihasa Puranam, Nakshatra Vidya, Devajana Vidya, all those things are Nama Eva Etat. They are all mere names or letters or the words. You have not understood what is the forms, names and forms depending upon. The names and forms all the knowledge which you have got is only mere words in reality if you do not know the reality behind it. I can call you as a walking encyclopedia or a library walking around. But you have known them only as mantra. That is why you said mantra videvasmi. I know how to chant all these mantras. Na atmavid. You have not known what is the Atma. That where the mantras are depending upon or where they think. So Sanatkumara says, what is kinchit? Yadvai kinchit adishta. Whatever little you know. So even there he is taunting Narada, saying whatever little you know, nama evai tat. All these things are nothing but names. And if that is the case, you know that these are all mere names. Namava Rigveda, Yajurvedo, Samavedo, Atharvanas Chaturtha Idihasa Purana, Panchama Vedanam Veda, Pitrum Rashin Devo, Nidir Vakova Vakam, Ekayanam, Deva Vidya, Brahma Vidya, Bhuta Vidya, Shatra Vidya, Nakshatra Vidya, Sarpajana Vidya, Nama Eva Etat. Nama Upasika. But you have to meditate upon that Nama. Whatever list what you have, even though they were all mere words, you have not meditated upon the words to know where does the words take their reality from. The Nama has a reality. The words have a reality. You went into the etymology, the usage, the language, the logic, and all those things are well known to you. So that remains as names only or the words only. But you have not made any attempt to know where does the reality for the names and the words which you are mentioning in all the list which you mentioned is coming from? Therefore, namavai na etat paseti. You have to now meditate upon the words to know where the dependency of the words or the reality for the words are coming from. There is a truth in the words which you are talking about. The words per se has limitations. They are all little words. But there is a dependency for the words with which the words become live. There is a life when you chant a mantra. There is a life or there is a potency in the knowledge which you have acquired through the words. But you have not known the substratum or the knowledge where does it lean upon for its own existence or its own reality. Therefore, please meditate upon the words as Brahma, as that Sat or that Atma which you have been asking for that. Please meditate upon that as the Atma for knowing what it is. In the fifth mantra, then the dialogue further goes. Sayo nama brahmetyupasite yavan namno gadam tatra asya yada kamajaro bhavati. Yo nama brahmetyupasti bhagavo namno bhuya iti namno va bhuyo asti iti tanme bhagavo bravi iti. So here the first part is of Sanatkumara and the second part is of Narada. Sayo nama brahma ityupaste yavat namno gatam tatra asya yada kamacharo bhavati. This is what Sanatkumara says. Here who sahya nama brahma iti upaste. One who meditates upon or one who contemplates upon the names as Brahma, yavan namno gatam, as the reach of the names, whether it is the extent of anything, the outer cosmos or inner knowledge or inner tranquility or inner turmoil, whatever it is, there is a name for everything. Even if it is not a special name, it can be a common name. So, as long as there is a way in which you can name anything, either by a specific name or by a common name, to that extent, if you meditate or contemplate on that, the reality of that, where it is depending upon is Brahma, if you contemplate on that, tatra asya yata kamacharo bhavati. You will have a mastery on that because not only you know the words, what they stand for, but you also know the substance or the reality on which the name is depending upon. For example, if you know the pot, not only you know the name pot, but you also know the mud, the dependency of the pot name is on the mud. Same way, all the names which you are using for all the list of degrees which you have mentioned, there is one reality on which they all are depending upon. So, within the realm of the names, you will become Kamachara, means you will have the freedom to move, use and define and designate and explain within the realm of the names. Because now the name, after you meditate upon Brahma, the name becomes a potent name, not a mere library. The difference between a word in a book and the word when it is being uttered by a guru is that difference. when a guru talks about a teacher or physics teacher, chemistry teacher or Veda or Upanishad, mantra, whichever is the teacher which is, when is he talking about a word, the alphabet, the pratika, the name, everything is the same. The, when you read also you get the same word. But there is a difference between when you read it from a book and when you hear it from a live teacher. Because there is that presence of Brahman, Atman in that words which is communicating and coming to your ears through the means of these words. So, yatra tasya yada kamacharo bhavati. Then when you learn when you meditate upon, now you have already studied the words, but the words are lifeless in your memory. But only when you accentuate or articulate it with the knowledge of the reality of those words, dependency on that, the words become powerful enough. Therefore, you please meditate upon the words as Brahma, as a methodology, so that you can enhance your capability to know what is Brahma more and more, because even Brahma will be explained over a period using the names only, because without names, no communication is possible. So even to explain you what is that Atmavid, I need you to know what is a word, but the mere word will not help me or you in understanding what is Atma, but the word which you now grasp from me should be a potent enough word which makes it a live word, for that you can experience the reality in the words. So Narada now gets into something higher one, because he is always hungry of knowledge. So he asks the next question. Yo nama brahmetyupasti bhagavo namno bhuya iti namno vava bhuyo asti iti. So that means, sir, one who meditates upon the nama, on the words as the Brahma, there is something beyond that nama, beyond that words which you are talking about, which is superior to the words. Bhuya means superior to that. Iti namno vava. Indeed, is there something greater than the words? Bhuyaha asti iti. You are saying it is there superior than the word. Tanme bhagavo braviti iti. If that is the case, tad, that may, to me, Bhagavan, hey, my teacher, bravitu iti, please explain to me that, which is superior to the words. So, now the first stage of the teaching of what Narada knows and what he is capable of learning from that has been completed. So, next section, where Sanatkumara starts with the next level where Narada is being initiated into, which we'll see it on Friday, which is starting with section 2, chapter 7, chapter section 2. So I'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawada.